Hi, Ferris Jean here. I'm going to talk to you today about motivation, about lighting that inner fire. And as I'm talking to you about that, I'm going to be actually starting a fire. So we're going to be learning about how to keep your motivation going, how to start it, to keep it, and how to actually get a fire going, okay? And it's not going to be a survival fire. I'm not going to, use flint rock or two sticks to rub together or anything like that. But we usually have to have some kind of an inspiration, some kind of spark, something to get us wanting to move. And that can be all kinds of different things. For us, it could be the beginning of the year, a New Year's resolution, or maybe there's a reunion coming up, or there's a trip that you're going on you want to look your best for, or perhaps you've gotten some news from a physician and you need to make some lifestyle changes to be healthier. There could be that wedding or graduation or whatever it happens to be. There's that spark. There's that reason to get you going. Now, what is that passion? What is it that you need? That is the heat. Heat is one of the things a fire needs to survive. And your heat is your passion. It's your part of your inspiration, but it's also everything is part of this inspiration. That's what keeps you going. That's what motivation is. But it's also the dream, the goal, what you're reaching for. So that is the heat. A fire, in order to survive, needs fuel as well as heat, and that fuel is your support, your strength, your health, your mindset. Are you ready? Is it time? And that's what your fuel is. That is your what's going to feed your fuel, your fire. Okay. The other thing a fire needs is it has to have air. It has to have oxygen to live, just like we do. It needs oxygen. And lots of times when we get frustrated, when things aren't moving fast enough, when we're stressed, overwhelmed, upset, things aren't going as we want to, we can get pretty flustered. And so you might hear somebody say, well, just take a breath, like breathe. And when we are meditating, when we are trying to ground, when we're trying to calm ourselves, deep breaths is really important to do. So I want you to remember to breathe and to remind yourself that you can't do this without calm and mindfulness and focus. And in order to do that, we have to breathe. So that is what we need for our inner fire. So let's talk about a real fire. So first of all, you need a foundation. You need something to start on. You need something that is going to be good for a fire to be sustain itself. It can't fall apart. You don't want it to be on a wet surface if you can help it, right? You can't have it on a surface that isn't going to support the fuel. So we need to have a good foundation first. And that might be rocks. It could be sand. It could be where a fire has started before, and that's where we're going to start. We've got a nice foundation here of ash, where a fire has already started. There's already some old pieces of wood that haven't burnt from the last fire, but they might be wet. So we're not going to use them right away, not until they gain some heat and dry out a little bit. So we need to have something to start a fire with. And we can use anything that's going to ignite easily. So I've got some fluff out of my dryer, but we can use paper. So let me just get into position here. So I'm going to put my little fluff right in the center here. Okay. I also have deer moss, or some people call it old man's beard. It's fire starter. It's really good fire starter when it's dry. It grows on limbs on trees. That's also a very good fire starter. Okay, we'll also need some, we could use paper of some kind if you don't have anything else. Toilet paper, the lint out of your pocket. Kleenex. It could be paper towel. I'm going to use newspaper. I'm not going to have it too tightly crunched because it needs to be able to catch easily. Okay, so I'm going to put some of that around as well. Okay, now the next thing we need is kindling. We need to start small. Whenever we're doing anything, in order to reach our goal, we can't do anything too quickly. We need to start slow. And I'm going to be using little bits of spruce tree that are all dry, and they're very small and they catch easily. So I'm going to put those around, and you see how I have lots of them, and you see how they're supporting each other to hold each other up. Okay, and that allows air to go underneath. I think what I'm going to do before I ignite this is I'm going to make sure I have a really good support system going. So I'm going to lay some bigger twigs on here. They're still quite small, but they're just a little bit bigger. And that's going to help feed that fire and get a good base going, because we'll need to have some good heat. We have to make our heat, but heat is an important part of the fire. Okay. All right, so have you thought about what your ignition source is? So our ignition source, because it's beginning of January, might be our New Year's resolution. Now there's a wind that just came up. So that wind is good on one hand, once we have the fire going, to feed it, to give it the oxygen it needs. But to start it, it might be a little bit of a challenge. So I want to shield it a little bit from the this is an old box of matches, so they're not lighting very well. There we go. Protect it a little bit from the wind here. Get it started. Okay. Now we're hoping that it doesn't burn the paper off right away, and it catches the wood and it starts creating a heat so that I can add more. What do you suppose would happen? I've got a nice little fire going right now, but it may not last. What do you suppose would happen if I put a great big log on that right now? See, what happens is that motivation has to be fed and it has to be nurtured. And we can't go too fast, because if I decide that this isn't happening fast enough, I want it faster. If I put a great big log on that right now, it's going to go out. I'm going to be upset about that, and it might take a little effort to get it going again. So even though I do want a quick result, moving too fast is not the way to get that result. The best way to get that result is to nurture and feed it. Okay? Little bit by little bit. I don't want to put too much on too fast. I don't want to put too big a pieces on too fast. I want it to generate some heat. Okay? I want it to get hotter and hotter. As I go. So I want you to think about, are you ready? Are you ready to do what you want to do? Do you know what it is that you want to achieve? Do you have the support that you need to do this? Take time to pay attention to where you are. Don't get frustrated, and if you do, take a few deep breaths and remind yourself that things do happen slowly, and things worth anything take time and care and patience and effort. I know a lot of people think about weight at this time of the year, so let's just think about that for a minute. Weight loss. You may not see a change right away, and that can be frustrating when you're doing everything right. But remember a few things. Weight is a lot of times our muscles weigh more than fat does. So as we're maybe getting more exercise, we may not be losing weight right away, but we're gaining muscle, and we're converting that muscle, that fat, into muscle. And so you may not see a change in weight right away. You know what's happening here is a lot of chemical interaction, a lot of molecular changes that are going on in here. We don't see that at that level, but I'll tell you something. When you're working out, for example, and you're not seeing any weight change, your heart is getting stronger, your lungs are getting stronger, your stamina is increasing, your recovery is getting better. There are a lot of things that are happening that are healthy on the inside that you don't see yet. So don't give up. Keep on going. And as you're getting stronger, and as things are happening like this, other people, make sure that you're with other people. You have other people that are around you, that inspire you, that motivate you, that help you achieve what you want to achieve. And the thing is that as you're getting stronger and as more and more people are joining you, you'll be able to add bigger and bigger pieces because you've got more and more help, more and more support. You know what's going to happen as your fire gets bigger and stronger? People are going to say, wow, what a nice fire. And they're going to be drawn to its light, to its warmth, and to its beauty. And you'll be able to share it. And you'll be able to help other people maybe get motivated and keep their motivation going. So I want you to have a great 2025 or whatever year you're watching this and enjoy your motivation and enjoy your fire within.